Need something creative to hold you through all the craziness in the world? Then you need to experience artist Jennifer Cantley. Jennifer is an interdisciplinary artist currently residing in Atlanta, Georgia. She's offering hilarious Victorian-style portraits of your pets, as well as other commission types. You can find her work and commission info at jennifercantley.com. Happy painting. Are you a music person? Do you like homegrown songs that come straight from the heart with a dash of fun? Then check out our buddy Owen Plant. Owen is a folk artist in Southeast Georgia who combines folk sounds with his Jamaican reggae roots. You can find his music, live performances, bookings, merch, and all at owenplantmusic.com. He's even working on personalized quarantine live shows so everyone can enjoy a live music experience from the comfort of their home. Check him out and show him some love. Do you like being inspired? Are you into art? If you are, then check out the awesome streams and artwork of Golden Gooby. You may know her from the popular YouTube channel Planet Dolan. She's a dear friend of the show and hosts art streams multiple times a week. So if you're looking to fight in-house boredom and have some fun, check out Gooby streams at youtube.com/c/goldengooby and on Twitter at golden_gooby. Hey folks, Matt here. With all the craziness going on, we wanted to give a shout out to our friend Lane Silva. As you may recall, Lane was on our show last season. He's a musician, composer, and all-around amazing dude. Right now, he's offering a special deal on video music lessons. It's name your price. He's offering lessons for piano, guitar, bass, ukulele, and production recording. I'm personally a former student of his, as he's taught me a good deal about editing and audio mixing, which has clearly come in handy with this podcast. So if you're looking for something cool to do, as well as something to fight boredom during all the quarantine, please reach out to our buddy Lane at JHNLNSLV on Instagram, or John Lane Silva without the syllables. Thanks, buddy. We wish you the best. If you need a shout out during these hard times, don't hesitate to hit up Common Sense and we'll make sure to plug you on the next episode. Without further ado, enjoy the show.
And we are live. How are you doing, sir?
What is this? I am doing wonderful. I see myself on a screen and I see you too, my dear sir. What is this?
I don't know.
I believe this is the newest episode of Common Sense with your host, Jeremiah Stevenson.
And your other host, Matt, who is wearing a chimp mask because
Hell yeah.
quarantine and safety and shit.
And being in that
Joe Rogan
isolation has given us that, we've gotten to that place of like, oh my gosh, I'm going to wear some masks. I'm going to wear one later or on the next episode that we do. I'll throw a mask on, I think.
I just had to throw this one on because it was right here and it's a chimp mask and I've probably frightened off most of our viewers by now.
Hey, but no, this is what gets clicks and what gets people to like want to sit down and be interested in it. That's what this is.
I'm gonna take this thing off because I'm suffocating.
Go ahead. Yeah, don't. I was
talking.
like, how long are you gonna leave that on? I don't want you to suffocate yourself. And then every time you take it off, you always make that face of like, oh my gosh, I need so much clean air. Every time you take it off, you're just like,
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to think. It's like have you seen The Martian?
I have seen The Martian.
You know, like every time like he takes his mask off, it's just like
Yeah, no, I am not too familiar. Did you ever read the book? I heard the book was really, really good.
The book's great. I like the book ends, spoilers. The book ends about 5 minutes before the movie does. Gotcha. You know how like the movie that it shows him back on Earth and it shows like kind of life after. That's something from the movie added. I actually really like that because you get to see like how it happened, where there's this really intense scene of him like, oh my god, is he going to get back on the ship?
Right.
And it does, and then it's just like, okay, thank god he's on the ship, and it's like, oh, it's over.
Oh wow. Sad face.
Yeah, but
resolution. I need that resolution.
Yeah, that, and it's just like, if you save Matt Damon, you save Matt Damon, and you show how Matt Damon survived. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. I love it.
I love the meme where it's like, how much money have audiences spent on saving Matt Damon from things?
Oh my gosh, I actually never thought of that. So you have Saving Private Ryan, you have Martian. What else is there?
I mean, Good Will Hunting, you save him from having a shitty life, I guess.
Yeah.
But there was God damn it, there was another one. There was another one where it was just like, because you Saving Private Ryan was one of them. Well, fuck, I don't know. Our audience, if you think of it,
if you think of it, let us know, and then we will incorporate how many movies can you save Matt Damon in.
Exactly.
Hey, that's a whole list that we should just start up, like all the movies that you can save Matt Damon.
And how many of them have we seen?
Can do that. Yeah, have we seen? And then we'll make that'll be a thing for like one season. It's like we're just living. This is the Matt Damon podcast with Jeremiah and Matt.
So this is kind of cool because, as you can tell, this is the first time we've recorded an episode where we're not in the same room together, because we are respectful citizens who are obeying the recommendations from the CDC.
The CDC, the law of the land. Everything that goes down is like, hey, we don't want you to get taken away or get sick. So we are quarantining podcasting today. Podcasting? I don't know. What would you?
That sounds like a drink.
It does, and I should have brought
podcastini.
Well, I definitely should have brought one here.
I'll drink the Sam Adams for both of those.
There we go. I'll grab one in a little bit. But yeah, no, we are quarantining in this episode of
Common Sense. Yeah, that's right. You've been podcast cheating on me.
Yeah, I've been like running through different things, y'all. Like I've been working on a podcast with some other people, and then I think that's it. Actually, I've just been doing that, and then I've been working on the Twitter account, and then I've also been working for work. It's just I'm all over the place, y'all. And I realized today that I've actually gotten to the place of like, oh wow, like I've fully accepted this new normal because I have like a schedule within all this. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I've kind of got the same thing because I've been doing some freelance work and stuff, like art commissions, but also like literally right before this call, I was doing a music video where my friend is doing a parody of the song is called Where Is the Soap? It's a parody from a podcast he's a big fan of, and they basically were like, hey fans, send us your like covers of our song. Nice. And it's about washing your hands, and god damn it, did me and Owen find a way in our homes to make a music video about washing your hands.
Hell yeah, dude.
But the routine thing is definitely a thing. Like I'll say mine's a little bit more relaxed because I can kind of just sleep until roughly when I want.
Yeah.
But it is nice to have like, okay, so there is all this crazy shit going on. Yes, I'm in my house, but I've still got shit to do, and I still have like kind of a rough order in which to do it each day.
Yeah. So I think that brings us to gratitude. What is it from this past week that you are thankful for?
I'm really grateful for as cheesy as it sounds, I'm really grateful for like friends.
Yeah.
Because like true friends like you and Lane and all the other people that I'm totally just not going to shout out because why not? But no, seriously, like the people have really stuck around because I actually, you remember this, I called you about it. I dealt with some stuff last week where I kind of came to the conclusion about someone I thought was a friend, and they really weren't. Or I don't think they're a bad person, but there's just some stuff went down in the past and took me until now to really like process it all.
Yes, yeah.
And it's just one of those things where I was glad that I was able to separate like what real friends are versus what this idea of what friends are is. And then kind of, I mean, I'm not spiritual necessarily, but it was kind of amazing that this is kind of one of those like it's divine intervention moments. Where the same day, like later that night, an old friend of mine came back into my life, and we kind of reconciled and buried the hatchet on some stuff. She said some stuff I had honestly wanted to hear for a very long time, and we leveled with each other, and we've been sending each other memes ever since. So
nice.
It's really nice. It's really nice because that was something that I could tell lingered on both of us, and it was just nice that we got to take care of that. And it just makes me appreciate people who really care, really want to be there for you, and who stick by you during the rough shit. What
For
about
sure,
you?
absolutely. For me, it would probably have to be the theme of, I think, restoration has been very big in my life this past week. So I'm thankful for like my relationships with my siblings, and like my little brother and I had this like awesome conversation for like 30 minutes, and he was like talking about like middle school and like how crazy it is, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, that is wild. Why are you experiencing all this like craziness at the age of 13 in school? Like, it's just amazing. What? And then talking with my dad with like different stuff, and then having some friends, we've been able to like connect and reach out and talk to each other about just so many different things. And you being one of them, has just been like not even restoration, like just like that, the newfound like quality of friendships that I have now. I think that's like the biggest thing I'm thankful for this past week, because it's just been like, even with people that I've known for forever, it's been like, oh, like we're chill with each other and everything. But then like this week, it's been kind of like, oh, but let's find like that deeper friendship, and like let's see where this can go, and like let's see what we can do for each other as people and stuff. So I think that's what I'm definitely thankful for within this past week. My gratitude. Hey.
Oh yeah, I like that we kind of both have variations of the same thing. I
Yeah.
like how you put it with the quality of the friendships is something
Mhm.
that you've really learned to appreciate, and that's something just in general, because it's like there's people that I would consider it's like a thing where we're friendly and we're friends, but we're
Mhm.
not like they're not someone I'm gonna call if shit hits the fan.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
and, and that's I think that's fine to have a certain extent, but it's just like you just have to understand like who are the people that's just like, okay, this is cool if we're hanging out, but it's like, okay, I don't necessarily like need you for like serious shit.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing. Like this time of life is very much like, it's just weird, and it's good, but it's also like uncertain and all this stuff. So it's just been, I've been able to just make that my normality, like my normalcy is just kind of like living in that day to day, like, okay, what I need to do to function within today, so to help me with tomorrow. And then instead of focusing on that bigger, like, oh my gosh, like all this
Yeah,
stuff, how can I function within any and all of this? It's crazy. It's too
it's
much.
it's pretty amazing like how much like people can adapt.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure.
I guess I have a topic on here that I wanted to address that. Also, this is something I do want to note to the listeners is we actually decided this is our second recording of this episode.
Yeah.
We did a first pass through, and it was just kind of one of those things where we just threw together the whole like when we could meet up and talk and everything, and then when
Mhm.
we sat down to talk, it was just like,
We
oh
were not
wait,
happy with
we
that.
do, yeah, well, not even just that, but I just feel like we didn't have enough shit to talk about, because it's like, okay, let's schedule it. I'm like, do you have topics? Oh no,
I'm
I
like,
don't have topics either. Shit.
shit, yeah. So we want to come back to this season with a vigor of like actually coming in with like, hey, you're not just gonna listen to us for like an hour and a half, like sucking each other's dicks. We're just gonna we're gonna actually like put content into this, and like have the topics and discussions and segments within what we enjoy and what we think you guys want to hear and what you guys tell us you want to hear. We want to like really build this into becoming something that's more just accessible for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. And what the beauty of it is, we got to kind of look over things. We used to do very like detailed outlines for things,
Mhm.
but the beauty of it is we can come back to this conversation and add some much needed topics. But also, I watched a video earlier this week where one of my favorite YouTubers, Jazza, he went over a bunch of art books that he went. I think it was five. Technically, it was a couple different ones, but he's like, bear with me, they all tie together. But he showed five art books that are some of the building blocks of his creativity,
Ooh,
and
very
I
cool.
wanted to ask you what some of your biggest creative influences were, whether that was music, film, books, art, TV, whatever, or an amalgamation of those things.
Yeah, I'll definitely do the amalgamation of those things.
What's your creative story is the question.
I dang, okay, my creative story. That's wild. Uh I've always played with Legos growing up. I remember there was like this, one of my favorite toys as a kid was this like Hot Wheels Transformers toy that like had, you could take it off the bottom of the car and he would roll on it like it was a skateboard. It was really weird. I don't know how to describe it. It was like this one limited series. I've never seen it again. But like just the coolness and the sleekness of it, and like skateboarding, because it was like early 2000s. I was like, oh my gosh, this is cool, all that stuff. And then I got older, stuff like Jumper came out, and then Assassin's Creed. So like all of these different things were worlds that I wanted to live in, and live in those things and create things that were similar to that. Especially like the actiony stuff. I love stylized, like action, cool looking stuff. So like, in most times I play video games, and if I can have a character that's like, if I'm playing Overwatch, I'm really particular about like what my character design looks like, because if my character design isn't cool and looks like something that I want to be, I don't want to be a part of it. And just like, that's why on Smash Brothers I only play as like the humanoid characters, because I don't like anybody else's like artistic design. I'm just like, I want to,
Really?
if I'm gonna be fighting and beating the shit out of you, I want to look fucking badass doing it. Like, so that's why I generally go with my choices for like gameplay style and like how things look. Michael Bay was like a huge influence, especially just like Transformers, the first three. Everything else, like, we ain't talking about it.
Dog shit
But
Jones.
just that like cool, yeah, Dog Shit Jones, like, but just like all that cool like early 2000s into like teen 2000s. That's why like John Wick now is such like a cool thing. I don't know. I just love action, y'all. Literally, I've just talked about action for the last like 2 minutes, but like, I don't know. That's what it is. It's all of that. But a lot of the creativity came from just seeing the world as a kid and being like, I want to tell stories or talk about things that look like this, or this would be really cool if this happened. Growing up, like with like all the homeschool stuff we learned too, and we learned a lot of history, it was just like, how can I bring all these like fantastical ideas within history and like make that a whole little thing? So that's why Assassin's Creed was like a huge thing for me, because it came right after like my middle school into my high school years, and like just all of that. There's just so many things. And I haven't even touched on music. I'm not going to, but music itself is just like, oh my gosh, it's a lot. It's a lot of cool. I was doing a live stream the other day, and we talked about like, make a soundtrack for your life, because I was like, everyone's life can be a movie. Stop waiting to be put in one. Like, make your own life a movie. And so like, I have multiple like movie score soundtracks for different times of my life. And like, if I'm going on walks on a hike or something, I'm always listening to Minecraft. If I'm out in the open, I've got Minecraft going. So just that desire to want to be in the world because of a video game was also there. And like, that's why I got into parkour with Assassin's Creed, and then like music from there just went all over the place. So all those things have created this like, I don't even know if I don't know what my content would be, quote unquote, like outside of like the YouTube stuff that I do, because that it's very unique and weird and random. Like, you do that, you watch my YouTube stuff, and then you go to my podcast, and it's just like, this is real deep life stuff. But then like on his YouTube, he's just being like a little stupid kid. And it's that duality of human being. That's something that I've always grown up, is just like learning how to walk the line between like who you are and the different components of who you are, and being able to express both of those things. So that's why I think it's really cool to be able to do like the shower thoughts, where it's just like simple, quick, easy, stupid stuff that's fun, and you don't have to think about it, but it can make you think about it. Or it could be like the hour-long episodes with perspectives, or conversations with you and I on the podcast, where it's like, my content is very much, my creativity is very much this. That's like the best.
It's like molding clay, kind of.
Yeah, it's like
constantly changing.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you?
That is a tough question. I should have had more of an answer prepared since I came up with the question.
Oh, I didn't even like, that was literally just like all off the top of my head. I did not prepare any of that.
Well, I obviously I haven't done that either. For me, it would just be like, I feel like and this is going to sound super pretentious, but it doesn't matter. We're just going to do it. I kind of see my life through the lens of like a kid, in the sense that it's just like, I see things through a slightly more mature perspective than I was when I was little, but it's all like, what's something that jumps out at me and really grabs me. I mean, look at all the shit behind me, but it's like, it's obviously like Star Wars, Indiana Jones. I'm a kid of Lucas and Spielberg.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where, I don't know, I've always been a nostalgic person. So anytime I see something that makes me harken back to when I was a kid, like I've got a little indie figure right here, or I've got Greedo, or I'm just grabbing shit on my desk. Or
no, like, I've got like all these like figures right here. I'm not going to move the camera because I set it up perfectly. But like, yeah, and like you can see behind me, like, yeah, anything that calls back to that, like, I guess, adventurous, imaginary life that we all have.
Mm-hmm. It's fun, and I think that's another reason I'm a toy collector, is because it's like I get to go back and kind of relive that in its own way, And I guess for me, like my biggest creative influences would probably music is obviously John Williams. Just because you're talking about soundtracks to your life, which it's a
Yeah,
good Kid Cudi song too, I think.
it's a wonderful song. Oh my god.
But I just love everything John Williams does, and say what you will about the Rise of Skywalker, but that was the best soundtrack from the new movies. I
I,
think
I
it's
need to go back and listen
amazing.
to it. I know there's like one or two themes that I really enjoy, but I need to go back and listen to it. I've been listening to Race. I love Race theme. Race theme's amazing.
Well, have you seen how like her theme and Kylo Ren's theme they kind of come together?
No.
And her theme is a play on the Emperor's theme,
Oh wow. Oh,
which
okay.
spoilers is perfect considering what they did.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I need to go back.
I'll send you the
See what
video
it
that
is.
breaks it
Yeah.
all down.
Send
But I
that,
was
send
like,
that to me. I want to see that.
it's really cool because that's not the first time John Williams has done that kind of stuff. And I'll send you two videos. The other video talks about how it's like, okay, we obviously talked about this. They clearly like they had a game plan, but then Ryan Johnson threw it out, and then they're just like, okay, shit, we've got to cobble this together.
Damn.
And what's funny is John Williams wrote the music so much that, or he wrote the music in a way where he could plan, so like they could do anything.
Nice.
And he could adapt with it. I'm just like, this motherfucker's
That's
in his
amazing.
80s. He's still a genius.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Dang.
It's just something where like, you know, there's John Williams music that makes me happy. There's John Williams music that makes me cry. You know, it's all these different things. And then like, you know, so the movies kind of play into that. Like, you know, when I think of different emotions, like when I go to write, I have to have some sort of music. And I'm not necessarily listening to like songs like, you know, like by like, you know, like Queen or some shit like that, like a band or like an artist or something like that. I have to
Right.
listen to like score, because score to me is the most raw emotion, because when you don't have lyrics, you can just
You
tap
can
into
just
shit.
tap into shit. Yeah, you can craft that. You can take what someone else has created to use towards your own creation, be it like writing or creating something in a video game world. I've been playing Dreams on PS4, or like unshameless plug, and like you can.
And we are not sponsored by Raycon,
We are not.
unfortunately.
We are definitely not sponsored by Raycon or by Raid Shadow Legends. At least not yet.
Soon enough. Soon enough.
But yeah, no, being able to take that, something else that someone was able to create and use that for your own, especially like in high school, being able to make that, take those things that people had created and shape them into my own identity as like who I saw myself as a person, who I see myself as a person today.
Yeah.
Being
Oh yeah.
able to, I think that's one of the reasons why we need creativity in the world, is so that other people can grab and like allow it to shape who they are, so that we can always have something different. And that's why I think every human being is unique for who you are at the very end of the day. Sorry, this is like really just like Jeremiah's just like,
We're getting all sappy, but I love it. You know, especially like we got really dark and serious on the
Really
last
dark.
episode, so it's
Yeah.
kind of nice. And we're
and like I'm getting out of it.
excited, Ryan.
I'm just like slowly getting out of it, but I'm like, oh wait, there's this nugget of gold of knowledge you should hear.
No, I get it though. But yeah, like to I guess sum up my rant for the past 10 minutes is it's just like, you know, I just gravitate towards things that bring vivid positive memories to me. Like I've got this Indiana Jones poster above me that of course nobody can see it, but I'll throw an image over it. But it's painted by Mark Ratz, who I actually met, and I got this poster after I met him, and it makes me so angry because if I had known that, I would totally like be like, oh my god, you did an Indiana Jones poster.
Yeah.
But it's cool because it's like it captures the movie very much in that Drew Struzan way, where it's just like you look at the poster and you've seen the entire movie.
Nice.
And
I miss posters like that, bro. Like, oh my gosh.
You do have some good ones though, like behind you.
Thank you. No, like the 2049 is amazing. I will.
The Scott Pilgrim one is the movie.
Oh my god.
It's simple, but it's the movie.
It's simple, but it's the movie. It really is. But just Kong Skull Island, I always have to talk about that poster. That is like my prized possession poster on this wall. It's just because the layers between, you have the mountains, the sun, Kong, the wording, and then you have his shadow, his silhouette facing all these people. Then you have the men, the soldiers lined up. It's such a beautiful,
and the ripples in the water.
The ripples, the colors of everything just flows so neatly. It's like Twilight. It's just beautiful. That is like my prized poster on my wall right now.
The Legendary's been killing it with the MonsterVerse posters.
Oh my
like
gosh,
the
yeah.
Godzilla one, I mean, they didn't even have to do anything. There was a shot in the movie where he just leans up. I love all the color play in the movie too. But he leans up and just shoots his blast in the air. It's just like, fuck it, let's make that.
Let's just make that the poster. And you're like, oh, bet I'm here for it. Let's do that.
And it's like the cover of everything. And then they had like they had a couple where it was like Ghidorah facing down Godzilla. It's just like they knew exactly what they were doing with it. The Kong ones,
God.
my friend got me an IMAX poster. I didn't see it in IMAX when it came out. But my friend, he always grabs me an extra IMAX poster. Sam Arbo, I love you dearly. Thank you so much. I've actually got the Logan poster. He grabbed me right up here. But he got me a Kong Skull Island poster, and it's a take on like one of the posters for Apocalypse Now, and it's like illustrated, so
wow.
you know I'm already there.
Wow, yeah.
But it's beautiful. It's one of my favorite things. I don't have it on the wall right now just because I try to rotate things. But yeah, but you know, I love that, creating that impression as well as recalling that memory, and just like not summing it up, but just like, here it is, you know. Like you and Carolyn very kindly said, but like, you like when I talk about movies because it's like you hear it from how I see it.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's the thing I know best, is to just like take this thing that I love so dearly and then like give my own spin on it, you know.
Yeah, there you go.
And it's just fun. And like art, music, TV, books, I actually I've been reading a shit ton of, I say reading a shit ton, but I've been reading some comics lately, and it's just really reinvigorated my whole, like, I just want to draw shit now.
Nice. And then just draw shit, dude. Like, that's what I tell people. Just like, once you find something you love and enjoy it, and you know how, just fucking do it, dude.
Fucking
make everything amazing. But so you're talking about King Kong.
Yes.
And I know we need to start talking about some toys. I was gonna segue into that.
Please segue into that. I'm gonna
grab some. And you just picked up Indiana Jones. I think that's a wonderful segue into what were the toys that meant the most to you growing up. What was that thing that was like, you remember it now as an adult, that was like the thing that made you happy? What was that figure, toys over the time? Like, give me some of that. Give me some of that, brother.
Okay, so I don't have as many of my childhood toys as I would like to. My mom, and I'm throwing you under the bus for a second here. Sorry. I may have mentioned this before, but she, when we moved, got rid of my Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
Because she thought I had outgrown it. And okay, maybe I can see the perspective, but it's just like, of all things, my Star Wars shit.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. But I don't have him on the desk right now. But I have one Stormtrooper, and it's like one of the big beefy like 90s Stormtroopers. Those are the toys I had, and I've actually gone back and eBayed the fuck out of like getting the ones I love the most. Like I've got the Leia I had, I've got the Luke I had, the Han I had, the Darth Vader. It's like that 90s thing where everybody had to be a giant,
just like a giant. Yeah, he was like, oh, I did like testosterone like 3 times this morning today. And you're like,
I do roids in my suit, man.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, dude, you are jacked, and you're just an action figure. You are jacked.
Do you even lift, bro?
There you go, exactly.
But one thing I have, and I think I told you about this when we were up at the lake, but I don't know if it was on the podcast or not. But one thing I have, and I found it in a box when I was unpacking the other day, is I have the Jurassic Park T-Rex I've had since I was a kid. Now this one came out when the first movie came out. Fuck it, I'll just show it. Here she is.
Oh my gosh.
And she had electronics and everything, and you know, she's been beaten up, but it's a lot of love. She's missing an arm. That was not my fault. I got her that way. Long story short, she's from when the original movie came out in 93, so she's almost 27, just like me.
Dude.
I didn't see the movie until after my dad died, though. That's the crazy thing.
Gotcha.
So the whole thing was, we were at some sort of like antique store in Cumming for some fucking reason. I don't know. But I'm a bored kid looking around as my parents are probably looking at furniture, some adult shit. And all of a sudden I see these people gathered around this area, and there's like some loose toys like on this table, and she's over there. And I'm like, I think I'm probably like 3 or 4. I just book it straight over there, and I just grab the thing, and I will not let go of it. And of course, my mom and my dad run over, and they're just like, "Hey!" It's like, no. If these people want this, that's them. You know, they were here first. And I'm just like, and
little Matt.
Exactly, the eyes too. And thankfully, they're like, no, it's all yours. And so I have this beautiful T-Rex. What I loved about it, she's kind of like got this like vinyl.
Yeah, I can tell like the way you're touching. Yeah, no, that's like quality.
Yeah.
Compared to like what toys are now.
Yeah, and I'll say this: Mattel's been killing it with Jurassic World.
Okay.
But yeah, it was just cool because this is back when Kenner was still making toys, and it actually looks like the T-Rex from the movie. I mean, the paint job not so much, but the sculpting very much looks like. Because that's actually a big thing for me, is I wanted to be a paleontologist as a kid. And one of the reasons I learned how to draw dinosaurs is I looked at like all these like different educational books about dinosaurs, and they had a shit ton of drawings of course, the skeletons. And even if you look at this one, this is definitely a lot more movie accurate. The skull structure is such a big factor into this.
Right.
And that's how I kind of learned the framework with this. It's just like, okay, you go from the skull structure, you start to build off of that. And this was such a breath of fresh air because this looked like what a fucking T-Rex would look like, and not just a cartoon character.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, she didn't have an arm when I got her. I don't know why. You can probably see the tiny remnants. My dad and me tried to make a paper mache arm and paint it to fit, and I just ripped that shit off because I thought it looked like ass. And my dad was probably not happy with that,
You're just
but
like,
yeah,
fuck it.
what I want to do at some point, my buddy has a 3D printer. I want to somehow 3D scan this arm, flip it, and then 3D print it.
3D print it. Nice. That's actually pretty legit.
Stick it on here. But yeah, I've got her, and it's one of my most prized possessions. I still have my Spinosaurus from Jurassic Park 3.
Nice.
It's funny that it's like Jurassic Park shit. But that's one of my favorite things. She is over by my scanner now when she's not in my lap. And then actually another thing I wanted to mention is this Aragorn I mentioned a second ago. It's a big one. The Lord of the Rings toys are the only ones I have from my childhood, like all of them. Like none of them like were, other than me just losing shit at being a child. But the thing with this Aragorn specifically is when my mom and my stepdad were first dating, he brought his sons up, my now stepbrothers, and while my mom was working, he took us for a day out in kind of the area where she worked in. I think it was in not a Marietta, but it was somewhere kind of closer to downtown, but not quite downtown. And anyway, we went to Benihana, got some food, and then afterwards, he took us to KB Toys, and he said he'd get us all something. Michael got, I hate that, I don't know where this is because this is a badass figure. He got this like amazing like comic book like Toy Biz like Punisher figure. It came with a comic book and everything. He had guns. I mean, it was the Frank Castle from the comics, but he was just like, badass figure. I'd love to know if he still has it or not.
Nice.
I don't remember what Matt got, but I saw this big ass Aragorn, and I have a big ass Ring Wraith. I'm like, this is actually what's cool is it's my favorite. It's my favorite look. It's him from the second movie, and I actually have a smaller version, a 6-inch version of this that is much more articulated. But it's my favorite Aragorn figure because it's just like this is from the big battle in the second movie. He's leading a bunch of elves. He's whooping some fucking orc ass. But what I love about it is even after all these years, nearly 20 years, might add, or heading that way, I have his sword as I showed you.
Nice.
And I've got his knife still. So I just
that's
have all of his
lost
accessories.
like a long time ago.
Yeah.
Like, for real. How old were you when you got him?
I was probably 11 or 12. Because I was late to the game with the Lord of the Rings, but I just remember this is actually another reason why I love the Star Wars Black Series and Marvel Legends so much is when I was a kid and I played with the Star Wars stuff, it was fucking 3 3/4 like this, which is fine when you're a kid because it's like you have something. But like when I got to Lord of the Rings, because get this, the toys were made by Toy Biz, which was owned by Marvel. Like there's actually a stamp on the bottom of Aragorn's foot that says copyright Marvel. But that was the first time I had a 6-inch figure. I'm like, this is bigger and it's detailed. And the cool thing is that was the first toy ever to incorporate 3D facial scans of the actors.
Yeah.
So they were the first ones that actually looked like the people they're supposed to be, not just like, okay, well, that looks like a toy version of the person.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I love those. That was like my first forte into like my toys or my actors for my films.
Hell yeah.
It's like they actually look like the people. So
we'll do that. It'll be chill.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm gonna get my action figure, but I also want to like let everybody know, like definitely shoot us a tweet or message us on Instagram. Do we have Instagram? We don't have Instagram.
Yeah, we have Instagram.
Instagram? I thought so. I haven't logged into it. That's why, because I had tried to make sure I'd logged in. Okay, let me take a step back. So I'm gonna get my figure that like the toy that made my childhood. But as I get this, I wanted to let everybody know, definitely reach out to us on Twitter and Instagram, DM us, retweet us, and then just let us know like what are the things that made you your childhood? You know what I mean? Like what made you your childhood? Like hit us up and then like we'll go through those and like hit some of those up on the next episode. But let me
what were the toys that made you?
Yeah, there you go.
And one other thing, this isn't from my childhood, but you know about this. I've kind of dabbled in customizing figures before. I'm going to put some on the screen, and for the audio people, just look at Instagram or something. I've repainted some stuff in the past. I have a big Batman. It's my pride and joy because it looks like Ben Affleck, and I painted it so it looks even more like Ben Affleck, and he has a badass cape now. But with all the COVID shit, I've been, trying to find something to do, and I've been telling Jeremiah for months. It's like since we've been playing Conan Exiles together that I want to make a Marvel Legends figure of my character from the game, and here she is. I sculpted the little fur bits here, and then the rest of it, it was essentially just a really detailed repaint. The swords from Wonder Woman, from Batman versus Superman, the bodies from Spider Woman, and the heads from Silk. But I'm really, really proud of this. It's not like a perfect recreation of the character, but considering I cobbled it together with stuff I had around the house, I'm pretty proud of it,
Yeah, I was gonna say that looks like legit, especially if this is like everything. When's the last time you did anything custom?
Other than like a minor repaint, it's been a while, and even a minor repaint, I think like I still need to do your Black Panther ring, but it's like just like little stuff here and there, just like touch up kind of stuff. Mainly, like another thing I did. You probably can't really tell with this, but I redid the black on Bosk.
Gotcha.
And then on my Stormtrooper too. A friend of mine who Ryan Shaw, shout out to him. He's a customizer, and he actually makes a whole bunch of sculpts. Like he has a couple of his Star Wars like Kenner sculpts that are in Steve Sansweet's like archives at Rancho Obi-Wan.
Nice.
But he just said like just get some paint, touch those up. Nobody's gonna care. And I'm not trying to resell them. I'm just trying to have them for fun. But to answer your question, it's been a very long time since I did a full custom, and so it was really nice to kind of get back into it. I had kind of an idea of like what I was doing. She's not as posable as I want her to be, but it is what it is. I think I made a pretty damn good representation though, and I learned a lot in the process. So if we ever make you one, I will know what to do.
Hell yeah.
And what I'm most proud of is the face. It's a total repaint from scratch. Of course, the camera's not going to pick it up probably, but anyway, like I did all the tattoos. I repainted the eyes, and I love the lips because I thought that was the part where I was really gonna fuck up. Like the eyes aren't symmetrical, but it's like that's how they are from the factory.
Yeah.
So but I'm just happy that she came out as well as she did, and she's on my shelf, and it's really cool. And thank you for being an inspiration for that.
You're very welcome. Very welcome.
So what about yours?
So for me, the figure that like I don't know. I know it's not my first action figure, but it is my first Transformers toy, and it is the toy that like was a part of my childhood. And like I don't remember what happened to it. I lost it. I had like the red version too. I had this one, then I lost part of it, or it broke, and then I got the red version. But it is Sideburn from Transformers, Robots in Disguise.
I love that package art.
Yeah, and I rebought this, I guess, like 3 or 4 years ago. I was in Jacksonville with some friends. We were doing some like toy hunting, and I saw this, and I was like, I don't know if I should get it. And my friend was like, dude, you have to get it.
You have to.
I want to find another one so I can open that one and actually play with that one, because I'm the type of person with like, depending on like if it's something that I want to collect, I'll buy 2 of them, one to open, one to keep in the box. So I have some extra figures that I thought I was going to want to keep for forever, but I just need to go ahead and sell them. But yeah, no, it's just, he was my favorite character on the cartoon show, and like growing up and being able to watch it like every Saturday morning, and then being able to play with him throughout my week, it was just like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. A Transformers, and that's why when like the movies came out, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
They made this for real?
For real, and it was actually really great. Oh my gosh, the first one's amazing.
The first one's great. Like I remember,
I enjoyed the second one too, but like the first one's amazing.
I just remember the first one. It's like I heard they're making Transformers movie. I'm like, fuck that. That's lame. That's gonna be really stupid. Then I saw a trailer for it. I'm like, that actually looks really cool. And I remember I was talking to a friend of mine, and there was a trailer that came on for the first Transformers movie when we were in the movies for some other stuff. And I just kind of lean over to him, and he leans over to me, and he just goes like, yo, I want to see that. That looks pretty awesome.
No,
and we went on opening day, which was really cool. The 4th
of July. I did too. Yeah, I think I did.
Did you go on the island or Brunswick?
Brunswick. I always went to the Brunswick one. I've only been to, the only movies I've seen at the Island Theater are, it's literally just been Magic Mike 2. That's the only movie I've ever seen at the Island Theater.
I was working there when that came out.
And like me and like 7 other dudes went to go see it. And then it's like all these women in the theater, and we go up to like the 3rd row. So it's just like all these like teenage and like young dudes are just like walking in to go watch Magic Mike 2. That was amazing. I was like, will always remember that. It was amazing. It was so much fun. I love that. It was so great. It was so great.
One of the other things I love about your Transformer is the fact that I think it looks like a real car, but I love the Thunderbird paint job on the hood. That's badass.
It's beautiful. It is so beautiful. I love this figure, and I really want to open it right now, but I'm like, no, never. I have to find another one, baby. I've got to find another one. I want it. Stop. No, because I need to put a figure in my hand. Take us away, Matt. I need to put something in my hand. I need to find a figure.
That's what she said. But no, yeah, I love that kind of stuff because you can probably see like up in the corner here. I've got perspective is weird because I'm looking at the camera, but I have a bunch of figures in the box. When The Force Awakens came out, I bought a shit ton of the little basic 5 POA figures.
Nice.
They're like I think like maybe like $8 a piece. But I bought a shit ton of them, and if I'm crazy enough and get enough money after all this COVID bullshit, I'd like to actually own the entire Force Awakens like basic line because I love all the card art on the figures. It's digital artwork, but it's like a painting of the character in an action scene or something. I'm a sucker for good package art. Like I think one of my favorite ones, I got a Jyn Erso. That's probably my favorite one because it's just like these aren't shots from the movie because that's something I don't like is when they use static or stock shots like publicity stills from the movie. It's like I get it, like it worked for the old Kenner stuff. Like I've got a couple of the reproduction ones, but they like that they've got a stock photo, but that's cool because that's all they had, and it's just like the way they present it's really cool, and I wouldn't try to mimic it. But if you're going to do something different, I rather than just do straight up like it's just a drawing.
Yeah.
And I've got a bunch of those. I love them very dearly. And I try to like, if there's a figure that like means a lot to me, like I've got a couple of the Slave Leia figures from Power of the Force 2, the ones I grew up with. I've got a couple variants of those like in the package. There's just some that like I want to keep them in the box, not just because it's like, oh, you should maintain box, but it's because it reminds me of like going to the store and seeing them on the racks and on the pegs.
Shelf,
yeah. In their packaging. Like I mean, I look at every time I look at it's the green Power of the Force 2 things where it's got the big silhouette of Vader and it's got a picture of the character and it says Star Wars and it's green. And I just every time I see that, or the red versions too that they did later on, I just get a huge lump in my throat because it's just like I'm a kid again. These are the ones I went to Walmart and bought like every weekend. Toys are amazing, aren't they?
Toys are so good. And as he finished that, I did my little. It's not great. He won't stand, but I'm not a young man anymore.
I want that soldier figure so bad. I need
it's
to like
really cool.
Hit eBay up and try to find one. I've got it. I don't have her guns with me right now, but
you got Tracer?
Yeah.
Sorry, I got really
No.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Where'd you get her at?
Clearance at Target for $5. If there's 2, I will grab you one.
I need to go to Target, like for real.
If you can't find it, you can have mine.
No.
Yes,
I won't take it from you. No, I won't take it from you.
If you can't find one, I want you to have one.
I will get one at some point, child.
Fine.
Thank you.
You try to offer him shit, and he
I
just...
know. I appreciate that, but damn, shit, I need to fucking roll up into Target and be like, quarantine my ass, bitch. I got that Trump money.
I guess we should. That's a good segue. Although I have to show Mr. Meeseeks real quick. This is my look.
Oh, nice. That's
and he's got a gun too.
I know. That's what I like.
We're coming, Jerry. That's your short game. But I guess that's a good segue. So a lot of people have gotten their stimulus checks. Some others haven't. I got my Trump money. And I am unapologetic. And you got yours. And I unapologetically bought. It should be coming next week. Conan's sword.
Nice. Hell yeah.
Granted, I want to preface not that you care, and not that I care what other people care, but I just want to set the record straight that I'm not just a stupid child with money all the time. It's
just
good portion of the time, but. I got the full $1,200 because they went off my 2018 taxes because yay. I kept 200 of it, and I put the other 1,000 towards like paying for our bills and shit. I was just like,
Nice.
I got $200. I gotta go buy something. Not to make it political, but I wanted to buy something dumb on Trump's dime, even though I know he didn't pay for it himself. And there's just some satisfaction about like this orange motherfucker just bought me a Conan sword. You know?
This is what my patriotism gets me. I'll do it. The fuck I want to.
America, fuck
Oh,
yeah. What about you? Have you enjoyed your Trump money?
I have. I really just got some beers for work. Due to like, let me rephrase that. I bought some beers, and that's pretty much it. I got some stuff that I needed. But other than that, I'm just gonna like use it for like some more financial stuff and situate myself in a better position after all this stuff happens.
Sure,
So
yeah.
that's how I intend on using it.
You know, I think this is a good time to segue to our caller. What do you think?
I think that is much agreeable. Yes, sir. Let's say who called us.
My friend Jennifer called us, and she's been a very dear friend of mine for about 3 years now. We work together at the art store we used to work at. She was the boss bitch. She
Nice.
became like manager, and I just was like, "You are." I got it from Parks and Rec. I'm like, "You are boss bitch," and she's like, "I am boss bitch." But she's an amazing, talented artist, painter, sketch artist, inker. Here's a. Well, I thought I had it. Here it is. Um, I don't have the Han Solo she did from Christmas for me a couple years ago.
Yeah.
But she did like it just straight pen and ink, no fucking pencil or anything. She just went straight for the pen and ink on the paper, and I'm just like,
Nice.
But she also did this Millennium Falcon painting.
Oh my god, that's
It's
beautiful.
on a little block of wood.
That's so beautiful.
She's amazing, and she's basically a sister to me, and it means a lot that she left this message. But I do want to get to more stuff with her and mine friendship, but I think it will form naturally from the voicemail. So here's what Jennifer had to say.
Hello, this is Jennifer from Atlanta, Georgia. So what I wanted to talk about is female representation in Hollywood. I was hoping you guys could discuss some of your favorite movies directed by women. Also, it is really rare to have female leads in nerddom that aren't overly sexualized or some corny archetype. So I wanted you guys to discuss what some of your favorite female leads are that break the norms of how women are usually portrayed in popular culture. Thanks. Bye.
That's a great question,
That's
and a
actually
very
a really
deep
good question.
question,
It's a
and one
very
that
deep
admittedly
question.
terrified me when I first heard it.
Well, yeah, no. So hearing it again, yeah, that okay, cool. I think that's a really good question, and to be honest with the listeners, like that's why we had to redo this episode because it was like I want to make sure we have the. You can cut this out if you want to, but want to make sure that we had the information for ourselves before we like just were like let's jump on and like say all the things we need to say and what we feel and think without thinking about what we're trying to say. So that was actually like Jennifer, you really helped this show in more than just asking us a question. It's been really cool to actually have conversations that were kind of based on this one question with other people, so I could have like a better rounded like response.
Yeah, this is definitely one that like when we did the original recording, I was sticking to our normal I'm just going to throw this at Jeremiah and we'll just make a talking point out of it. And then we realized very quickly that's just like we're talking out of our asses. And we kind of wanted to just like have that conversation with a couple of people and really marinate on the idea and like what we really thought about instead of just saying like what comes to mind immediately just to fill time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
So I think to first start off her question was favorite movies by a female director.
mhm.
The only one I can think of off the top of my head, because as I said, and as most people know, is I don't really pay attention to who directs what anymore. But Booksmart, Olivia Wilde's like directorial debut,
I'm dying to see it.
was absolutely amazing, and I thoroughly like encourage people to watch that movie because it really took me back to like my high school days, not being in high school, but, like the movies that were coming out like Superbad and stuff like that. It was like this generation's kind of
I've heard it's like super bad with girls.
I guess I would say the same. I never really like Superbad was cool, but I never liked Superbad. Like, because I watched like
I like
American
parts
Dad
of
and
it.
like like parts of it are like iconic and stuff, but like overall it's just like it's whatever. But like, oh my gosh, it's such a good movie. I thoroughly enjoy it. That will have to be my favorite movie directed by a woman thus far. Wonder Woman will probably come second.
I love Wonder Woman. That was actually I don't mean to
Yeah, no,
think.
well, and that's in more recent years because I definitely have seen more films directed by women. I've seen so many movies, but like I think that all of this leads into a bigger conversation. But what about you, Matt? What movies by women or what movies have you seen that you really enjoy that were directed by women?
I actually said this in our original recording. Wonder Woman is definitely one of the biggest ones for me because little known fact, of course I may have said it on previous episodes, but regardless, when I was in college, I wanted to write a Wonder Woman script. I actually went as far as to do a full outline. And I got deep into the comics. A shout out to my friend Vic Wilder and my other friend Eric Ponzone. Eric is the queen of Wonder Woman, and he gave me everything I needed to know about her history. He told me all the comics to read. He said he works at the comic shop that was across. It's called A Comic Shop that was right across from our college. And
Nice.
we went there. Vic said, "Hey, he wants to read, get schooled on Wonder Woman." And Eric's like, "Oh, I've got this." And he just hands me a stack of New 52 Wonder Woman comics, and I
Oh my
blew through
God.
them. They're fucking amazing. They rewrite
Nice.
her origin story, and because originally it's like, she was this child made out of clay, and then Hippolyta, her mother, prayed to the gods, and then like thunderbolts and shit, and then the clay child turns into a real child, some like biblical shit.
Yeah.
But I always thought that was crap. Like, I get that it's like, okay, that does sound something straight out of Greek mythology and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I was just like, okay, give me something with some more Greek drama to it. And what's cool is in the comics, she has this big like identity crisis because she finds out that that story's total bullshit. Your mom fucked Zeus, and which is what everybody in ancient Greece did.
Yeah.
And it's just really cool
because
because
you haven't fucked Zeus yet. It's gonna happen. It's bound to happen.
Have you seen an eagle circling your house lately? Yeah, he's
coming. He's coming around. Close your windows, lock your doors, hide your
kids, hide your wife. But but I love it because she has this identity crisis. She's really bitter towards her mom and resentful towards her mom because it's just like, you fucking lied to me, you bitch. All this other like, I mean, it's Greek drama, and I fucking love it.
Nice.
Because I love the Odyssey and all that kind of shit. But anyway, I dove deep into those comics, and I wrote an outline where I was going to utilize that as a plot point. But of course, nothing came of it because I was like 19 trying to write a fucking multi-million-dollar blockbuster. But when Patty Jenkins stepped in, who was originally supposed to direct Thor: The Dark World, but didn't, and I'm glad she didn't because Wonder Woman's way fucking better.
Way better. Oh my God.
But yeah, she stepped in. I was excited. I haven't seen her other movies. I haven't seen Monster, and I can't remember the other one. But I just Wonder Woman's the first superhero movie I've seen in a very long time to make me emotional. And not just for like cheesy, like I'm trying to get points as social justice warriors. No, like the moment when she climbs out of the trench and she's just like, I'm not like gonna stand for this shit anymore.
Yeah.
That's like one of the most genuinely heroic moments I've seen in a superhero movie that wasn't cheesy.
Yeah.
Like it was like it's conviction. She had all this conviction, stood up as like, I'm not gonna stand by with this. And the music's perfect. They use slow motion perfectly. Gal Gadot's just got this like she's just got this conviction. So much. I know that's the word I keep using, but it's so perfect. And like I did a drawing of her deflecting all the bullets, and then like all the other guys charge up and give her the backup that she needs. But it's still just like, oh my God, that movie's amazing. It's one of my
A+. I'm excited for the sequel for sure.
Me too. And Patty Jenkins came back for the sequel. And the thing is, they didn't pay her much for the first one.
Oh,
but
really?
then after the first one made the bank that it did, and get this, they wanted to cut the No Man's Land scene. The studio did. I'm like,
really?
Warner Brothers, get out of the goddamn cutting room. You fucked up too many
Warner Brothers
movies
needs to just like sit their ass
calm the
down
fuck down.
for real, like for real.
But yeah, she because of that, she was basically holding the gun on that deal with like, okay, no, you're going to pay me a lot more, and it's like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
But just a couple other quick ones is I'm not the biggest fan of Zero Dark 30, but I think Catherine Bigelow was amazing with the Hurt Locker. That
Mhm.
movie's insane. I don't know if you've ever
I've
seen
heard
it.
it's amazing. I've never seen it.
It's the most intense movie I've seen in a very
Really?
long time. I mean, well, I say that after seeing like Fury in 1917, but it's like it came out in 2008 and I saw it and it was like, whoa, this
How
is
would you
intense.
say? So I definitely need to watch it because I love Fury and I love 1917.
Mhm.
I told you how like Fury just intent. I was just like, oh my gosh, like
You're gonna be on edge when you finish
okay,
because
cool. So is
because
it
the
about
whole
that
thing
same
falls.
level?
Yeah, well, in a different way though.
Okay.
It's not as aggressive as Fury is, but it's definitely intense because it's about like a bomb squad in I think Afghanistan,
Okay.
and Jeremy Renner's in it. He was nominated for an Oscar for it.
Oh,
Anthony
was he really?
Mackie's in it.
Nice. What?
Yeah,
Oh my
Guy
gosh.
Pearce is in the first 5 minutes.
He
It's
obviously dies.
yeah, spoilers, but I don't care because I was looking for. I wish I would have known that going in because when I went in, I would just watch Memento and a shit ton of other Guy Pearce stuff. I love that man. And I
Yeah.
was like, shit, Guy Pearce is in a war, like a war movie, hell yeah! And then I started, and it's like 5 minutes later. Oh,
Just don't tell me how he dies. Just don't tell
I
me how he
won't.
dies.
I won't. But yeah, no, it's really cool because you really get into the mind of like a soldier on rotation, and you
Mhm.
get to see like how even when he's back home, it's kind of like that American Sniper thing where it's just like he still has the itch to go back and do shit,
Yeah.
and it's really really good. It's really well shot. It's like it's all handheld, but
Mhm.
it's one of those times where it's like it makes sense because it's like you're on the field and it's like you're right there next to him. You feel like you're standing next to him because the camera's a little like unstable and shit. But
Yeah.
I thought it was really good. It has some amazing music in it. The ending, I'm just like, oh fuck, not
So
because it's
Patty
like super
Jenkins.
big and
So
emotional.
Patty Jenkins, she's the one that directed that one.
No, Catherine Bigelow, who
Catherine
was James
Bigelow.
Cameron's ex-wife, and
Oh,
she won.
really?
I think it won Best Picture, and she won
Nice.
Best
And what
Director.
else did she? What else did she record, or what else did she direct?
Zero Dark 30, Zero Dark 30, and Detroit are the most
Oh,
recent
she did
things I can
Detroit.
remember. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't see Detroit.
But she's big on that kind of like. I don't know, to me, it's like she's kind of like the female Ridley Scott, and I don't mean to make that comparison. It's like, oh yeah, because it's like that's the woman version. It's just like her style is just very much like Ridley Scott, except
Yeah.
she has a little bit more of like a right up next to you feel than Ridley Scott does. Ridley Scott can do he can do like more of a Lawrence of Arabia kind of thing where it's more epic and drawn back. And
Mhm.
he even does it with Black Hawk Down, and that's another reason I compare them is because it's very similar to Black Hawk Down. But Black Hawk Down, it's almost kind of like I don't say this like it's a first person movie or anything like that, but it kind of feels like you're watching a first person shooter from like over their shoulder.
Okay. Third
Where
person.
with Catherine Bigelow's Hurt Locker, it's not like it's an action movie. Do not go in thinking it's an action movie. It's
Okay.
not. It's a fucking character drama. But when you go into it, it's like you're right there next to him. You're one of the guys in the squad. And
Holy
it's so
crap.
fucking tense. Like you've heard stories about like the guys who are like they're in their Humvee, they're going through the streets. All the people look like they're either normal or they're suspicious, and you can't fucking tell.
Right.
All of a sudden stuff gets really fucking tense. You see a motherfucker, he's watching them, he's talking on a phone, and he looks very aggressive about it, and they're freaking the fuck out about it. I mean, it's like I'm getting like freaked out just thinking about it.
Okay.
It's
I
an
need to
amazing
definitely
movie.
watch Hurt Locker. I'll probably try and find that for tonight.
And then just one other one is
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Sophia Coppola. She did Lost in Translation with Bill Murray.
Okay.
And it's Scarlett Johansson. Great movie. Lane, actually, I'm going to give him another shout out. He told me a crazy thing to do because if you watch, he's like, you need to watch Lost in Translation, and then immediately after you need to watch Her, because it's the same story told from different perspectives.
Ooh, really?
Because Sophia Coppola and Spike Jonze used to be married.
Really?
Yes.
Wait.
Like it's not literally the same story, but if you think like subtext wise, it's the same story. It fucking is.
Oh wow.
It's
That's
really cool.
wild. That's wild.
Yeah.
Oh snap. Okay. So for me, I didn't have because I don't watch too many like shows like that. Or I don't watch too much and pay attention to like who directs everything as I
Right.
should. I know I should. Ended up writing down a list of women within Hollywood, and I was talking to some women that I know, and I was asking them for like different characters that were not because I think the conversation that I kind of posed was like, well, there's this sexualization of hero characters, and like what non-sexualized characters within geekdom are there that we can look up to? Is that how Jessica posed the question at the very end?
Jennifer.
Sorry, wow. Jennifer, is that how she posed the question?
It was like overly sexualized. Like,
Overly sexualized.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I start off with like, this is my list of like women in Hollywood that like without them, this movie does not work, or either they are the lead in it. And so my first one was Furiosa from Mad Max Fury Road. Freaking Charlize Theron is amazing. I'm trying to find Atomic Blonde because I've never seen it and I hear it's pretty good. So I'm down to watch that because I love her. I think she's a phenomenal actress. And like Fury Road is Furiosa's movie. Like
It is. It
down.
is. It absolutely
hands
fucking
down.
is.
And it fucking works because she's amazing. She's awesome. She is all the things that a hero needs to be, and she just does it effortlessly.
And I love that like Max is immediately like, okay, you are in the driver's seat of this shit. I'm just here.
I've got this thing covering my face. So, you know, I'm just here for it, bro. I'm literally just here for it. I had Furiosa, Emily Blunt, almost in anything. I freaking love her because she's just like down to earth and just amazing. Her in Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise, and also in Sicario with Benicio del Toro. That's not his name.
Yeah, no, that's it.
Is that his name? Who's
Yeah.
the dude that I'm thinking of? The guy
Josh
that
Brolin.
No, not Josh Brolin. Who's the director of
Sicario?
Not Sicario?
Oh, Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah, I always get them mixed up. I always freak out, and I'm just like, oh gosh, it's like, ugh. But no, Emily Blunt, Uma Thurman from The Bride, Kill Bill, Domina from Deadpool. I don't know if I want to keep her on the list, but I'm just gonna say her because like she is one of the fun parts of Deadpool too. Like Deadpool's already a fun movie.
Can I throw another one for your
Zazie
Emily
Beetz
Blunt?
is also just amazing. Yes, please.
A Quiet Place. I know
A
she's
Quiet
not
Place.
the
Oh my
lead, but
gosh.
she's amazing in it.
She is. No, that entire family. So like for me, a lead within the movie, like that entire family is like they are the. You can't have that story without that. Like
she's the pin holding them together.
She is like the entire family is like the lead of that movie. Ripley from Aliens, no one can ever forget her. Like all day, every day, she's
Get away from her, you bitch.
Blocker. We're gonna boom clock on your block. And then I don't know, after talking to some friends about it yesterday, I'm gonna say Natalie Portman in Annihilation.
Need to see that.
It's a fun movie. I really enjoy it. It is wild. It's a forgettable movie, but it's a really fun movie. And I think with Natalie Portman's character, there's such real, she's doing what she's doing for a purpose and a reason. And she's just like, she's there. And she has the skills to be able to do what the fuck needs to be done and just figure out what's going on. Because that movie is just wild. If you haven't seen Annihilation, take the 2 hours it is to watch it. It's fun. It's great. I threw up Katniss Everdeen from Hunger Games, and then Alice from the Resident Evil movies. Was it you that I was talking to, or was it my friends I was talking to yesterday? Apparently, Alice was like a little overtly sexualized.
Yeah, it wasn't me who said that, but I agree with that.
Okay, because I don't remember those movies. I watched them when I was in like high school, so I was just like, cool action movies, and I didn't watch them because I wanted to. I watched them because I liked a friend, and I was like, she was like, I like all these movies, and I was like, then I'm gonna watch all these movies so we can see the movie when it comes out.
I liked all the monster effects.
The monster effects was really cool, but like I just remember her being. I don't know her last name, the Jokovic woman. She's just awesome and just cool, and so I would love to see more stuff with her. But that conversation kind of bled into like this bigger conversation that I just want to pose to you, Twitter. What women in media and in Hollywood you can do at movies, what directors, what female directed movies, what things. I just in like flood our Twitter with like women that are doing cool shit in film, in comic books, in video games. We want to see that female representation. That's like, it's actually good, and it's structural. It's like, it's not just like this like craziness. It's like, oh, okay, it's a reskin.
And tell us what you feel is proper female representation, and not just like, you know, what's kind of the lowest common denominator, because that's actually something I kind of want to mention. Is my biggest issue, it's not so much representation. I don't have a fucking remote issue with that. What I have a problem is like it being used as a cash in and not being used for anything other than a gimmick. That's how I feel, and I'm going to piss a lot of people off with this, but I don't fucking care. I stand by it. Is the 2016 Ghostbusters movie was fucking terrible. It had nothing to do with those women. There's a funny, great masterpiece of a Ghostbusters movie with those women in it. It was just not the movie we got. It felt very lazy and half-assed, and it felt like a cash grab.
And the writing was terrible because each one of those women in their own right are phenomenal comedians. They have proven themselves. Like, they can do funny shit. but that script was not funny shit. It was
Well,
god awful
they
writing.
didn't have a script. He just let them improvise the
Did he
whole
really?
fucking time. Yeah, I mean, I'll send you Mr. Plinkett's review of it because he talks about how it's just like I'm sure he's a really nice guy, Paul Feig, the director. He has some good stuff behind him, but you can't just roll a movie where the people are fucking improvising the whole time. That's how he sounds in the review. But I firmly agree with that. And the thing is, I went into that movie, I nothinged it. Like I wasn't like I want it to fail, I want it to succeed. I'm just like, I'm going to go see it. And because Ashley wanted to go see it, and I was like, okay, I'm interested. And I didn't. When I walked out of it, I was like, that wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen, but it was not very good. And the more and more, the more and more I thought about it, the more I'm like, that was awful.
Well,
like I think I was just expecting it to be even worse than it was.
Ghostbusters. I've never seen a Ghostbusters. That's the only.
The original's good. The original. I saw the second one a long time ago.
Yeah,
but
that was like
the
my
first
only
one's good.
incarnation to like Ghostbusters. But before we turn this into like a shit on that movie, like this.
Well, no. I'm not. I'm just my point is that I think, for my opinion on representation, I'll talk about my list of characters.
Yeah.
Is I just think that it needs to be a thing where it's honest, it's real, it has the intent of like it's going to like okay.
It
here's
needs
a
to
good
be
example.
there for the narrative. It needs to serve the narrative.
And it needs to have a point and not just be, like I said, not just be there for a fucking cash grab. Like a number of movies that have come out, it's just like, and then people are saying like, oh, they're so great because they have representation. It's just like, no, Wonder Woman's great because it has representation and it has like, and it's a good movie.
And to make a point to what you're saying, to kind of like double down, like with Black Panther, like it's like representation for like Black people, but like the movie's not good in my opinion. It's not a good movie, so why do I have to see myself represented in something that's not good when I know we can do better?
It's not like a lowest common denominator thing.
Right.
You said it perfectly, I think, either on a previous episode or to me personally, is you said, I think it's great to have cultural representation, but he's like, I don't think that, the quality of your product should be, it shouldn't be held back from having cultural relevance. And I think that's absolutely right. It's like, no, you should make something fucking good. That's all I want is good shit. I will watch anything. I mean, one of my fucking favorite games of the past couple of years was Horizon Zero Dawn. It's all about this self-made woman who's going to go do her shit, and I'm not going to spoil anything because it's too fucking good, but it's like it's such a good story. It's just like, that's all I want.
Yeah absolutely.
But I guess to make a more positive note, the things that are some of the characters I love, obviously Wonder Woman, because that's a given. Princess Leia. I know there's the whole like, okay, well, it's like, but she was sexualized in Return of the Jedi, and of course,
go ahead and like fully unpack that
as you see the artwork behind me. The thing is with that though, and I'm not so much defending it so much or justifying it just so much as it's like, I think there's a narrative purpose with it. She goes in to try to save the love interest, one of the dear friends of the group. It doesn't go well, and she gets captured, and she's put in this provocative outfit, and she's basically sits there and doesn't say anything for 20 minutes. And it's one of those things where, and Luke comes in, and the way Luke looks at her when he sees her, he's like, oh shit. And it's one of those things where it's treated very, and I'm not trying to say like this movie is making a huge political statement about everything. It's not, but it's just like, what I love about it is it does come full circle in that she stays there, she's quiet, but then when her time comes to like act, she strangles the motherfucking slug piece of shit who put her in that demeaning outfit with the very chain that fucking enslaved her. That's the most badass, like, female powered bullshit, or not bullshit. The most badass female empowered shit I have ever seen. And it's so cool because and the thing with Leia in all three of the original movies, and to an extent in the newer movies too, is she doesn't take shit from anybody. She's in the fucking original movie. She's the one telling Han and Luke how to do their breakout.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's like,
absolutely.
She's not going to take anybody's shit, and she's a leader, and she's not like, it's not in like an attention grabby fucking Twitter bullshit kind of way.
Yeah.
It's in the like, honest to God, I am a person and I will not be silenced. And I like that because it's very natural. It's not forced. And she's just such a good character. I mean, she honestly set the threshold of what women I look for in my life as a companion, as a romantic companion, are. Not just because Carrie Fisher was amazingly gorgeous, but because like that character and Carrie Fisher as a person, she's one of my biggest fucking heroes. I have like, I think most of her books. I dedicate my fucking screenplay to her. It's like, because she just set this threshold of like, independent, don't need no man, doesn't take any bullshit, is sincere, honest, and genuine, and cares about the people around her. And it's just something where, I mean, like, here's something that they don't talk about in the Star Wars movies that much.
Yeah.
There's one shot though, and The Force Awakens, that I fucking love for this reason. Just going back to the original trilogy, Leia loses her fucking home planet.
Oh yeah.
Everybody, her family, Alderaan is wiped off the face of the earth, and she does everything she can to stop that from happening. But fucking Empire, Vader, and fucking Tarkin are like, "Fuck you, bitch! We're gonna blow this shit up," and they do. And she sits there, and she just, like, she doesn't like show it. Like, it obviously she's horrified, but it's like she doesn't let it break her. And she never, and that's the thing, going back to the Java shit, is she never lets him break her. And she just stays there and she waits until her moment is available, and she fucking kills the bastard. And but going back to The Force Awakens, there's, you know, the shot, spoilers, when Han is killed by Kylo Ren. They cut back to Leia, and Carrie just does this thing where she just kind of locks up, like she kind of like leans back on like a table or something, and it's like she's just been punched in the gut.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, and again, I'm going to be spoilers. That's why when she started using the Force in fucking The Last Jedi, and then when I saw the training sequence in The Rise of Skywalker, I got a big smile on my face, because I'm like, fuck yes. She can do all this shit, but she doesn't have to, because she's too much of a badass by herself.
That's like a really great new perspective of Princess Leia, and like, Jesus Christ,
I love
like
her.
that's
She's my favorite
like
character.
that gives me like just a greater respect for the character and the way that she was written and the way that she was portrayed by Carrie. Like, that's amazing.
Like in
That's
Empire,
like
when they're in the fucking bunker trying to get the escape plan as the fucking walkers are coming in, she's the one telling all the fucking like snowspeeder pilots what to do.
Yeah, no,
she's a fucking badass.
Holy crap.
But also, this is something we did touch on the previous recording that I wanted to mention. Is another character who inspired Leia greatly is Deja Thoris from the John Carter series. Now, I've only read the first book, but I've seen the Disney movie from a couple years ago. The movie famously tanked, and I think the criticisms were not justified. I mean, it's not perfect, but you know, it's really good. I think it's a little long, and they kind of speed everything up a little too fast in the third act, but it's really fucking good. And I love how Lynn Collins portrays Deja Thoris. Now, one thing is, one could say she's
overly sexualized.
Yeah, one could say she's sexualized. But here's the thing. One, if you look at the original source material and the comics that, you know, the books that Edgar Rice Burroughs inspired, first of all, Deja was not the Princess Leia-esque type. She was just the damsel in distress kind of type. And like, you think Leia's bikini in Return of the Jedi was skimpy? Like reduce that by 90%. You've got what Deja's like everyday fucking wear in the original source material was.
Yeah.
I get it. It's from the 1930s. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's just how it was back then, and it's not right, but that's just history. But what I love is in Andrew Stanton's adaptation in the movie, first of all, it's like a Conan the Barbarian thing where it's just like, you know, there's revealing clothing, but first of all, they live on Mars and it's fucking hot.
Yeah.
Everybody, it's practical. It's not like, look at my fucking boobs. It's like everybody's like, even the men are wearing like very little, or, you know, very revealing clothing. It's a practicality thing, and everybody across the board is wearing this. It's not specifically like women, like Skyrim fucking armor is the strongest armor, is the fucking most revealing. You know, no, there's an actual reason for it. And then later on, in this wedding scene towards the very end, she's about to be married off to this guy. She's basically, it's like some Game of Thrones bullshit. It's like she's having to marry this motherfucker to basically keep the peace between the two cities, or else there's gonna be all out war and everybody's gonna get fucking murdered.
Yeah.
And she basically, like, her father's already committed her to it, which is fucked up as it is.
Yeah.
And then she ends up, just to keep the peace, she says, fine, I'll do it. And this is after a whole bunch of other shit goes. It's basically, I think the bad guy almost kills John Carter, who, of course, she's really in love with, because he treats her like a person and not an object. Yeah. And basically, she has to marry the other guy. I can't remember his name, but there's this amazing scene where Carter is being like, he's being kind of, he has to watch kind of. It's kind of like he's being cucked, but it's like he's having to watch with this other villainous character in the movie. He's kind of like essentially got a knife to his chest as he's like watching, and you see this wedding procession through the city of Zidanga, the big moving city, and she's wearing, admittedly, this beautiful dress, and it is revealing. It's beautiful though, and she just looks regal in it. But the whole thing is, there's a scene briefly beforehand where John does see her in it, and he's just like, "Oh my God, you look beautiful." She's like, basically, it's the dress is the wedding dress of the person she's marrying's mother, and she's like, well, she's like it's a little risque for my taste, but I think my opinions will soon be invalidated. And I fucking love that line, because that sums up the entire what's happening here kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so later on, when John sees her like on this funeral procession, it looks like some fucking Macy's Day Parade bullshit where they're on this float thing going through, and he's of course sitting there, got the shit-eating snake grin, just like, I got everything I wanted, look at my prize. And she's sitting there and looking regal, but she does the Ben Affleck I'm dead inside look.
Oh yeah,
and it's so crushing.
That
but the badass thing, and I have an illustration of it I got as a commission over here, is later on when shit hits the fan and fighting starts again. She's in the wedding dress. She picks up a sword and starts whooping motherfuckers' asses. It's kind of it's kind of like the Princess Leia thing.
Yeah.
But it's just really cool because you get to see her, like, again, she didn't let that shit break her. And I that's just something that means so much to me with like female characters. And like, again, going back to Leia, it's just something that's always meant a lot to me as a kid. And one other thing, just, it's not a female character, but I want to give a shout out to my mother.
Yeah.
My dad died when I was 7, and his he had a little mortgage company. Everything crumbled, and my mom worked her fucking ass off as a single mother, taking care of my ass, making sure everything was taken care of.
Yeah.
Like, I had a good Christmas. We had food. Not like, basically, to my understanding, nothing changed because she worked her fucking ass off to do that. And so so that's why I get so mad with this Ghostbusters bullshit, is when I see really like amazing women being just like made into just essentially just cash in fucking bullshit. It makes me fucking angry, because I was raised by a woman who defined to me what a woman is, and not just like, oh, I want to buy the most nice pair of shoes. If you're into that shit, that's fine. What have you. But my point is that I don't like powerful women being degraded down into these things.
Absolutely.
It's like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I get that. No, so
I'm triggered.
No, you got like real hot real quick, and like that's like the most frustrating thing, is especially like growing up and seeing actual women, and then when you actually get women in your media portrayed as like these weird things, and it's not just that like overtly sexual objectification of people. Because it does go both ways. It definitely leans towards women way more. But like when you have those women in your life that are like strong and independent, and even if they're not, they are still able to fucking run shit. Like half the shit my family has done, my parents wouldn't have done unless my mom was like, hey, get this. This is what we need to be doing. This is how we should flow and function as a family. Like,
your mom was the brains of the operation.
Yeah. And then seeing everything else that happened, is just like, or like seeing stuff in like media, it's just like, yo, bro, like that girl is stupid. Like, you're telling me that she's supposed to be like all this and all this, but like that's stupid. Like, that's dumb. Like, that's not how like any of the actual women that I know have actually.
Show me, don't tell me. It's the biggest rule with film. And like, and something, just another little thing, and I may cut this out, but going back to the sexualized stuff, is it's just like, I truly think there is a difference between like and this goes for a male or female character, because there's obviously there's the gratuitous shit with female like characters, actresses, all that shit, the gratuitous fucking like taking off clothes kind of shit in movies. But it does happen with men too, not to the extent. But it's like, watch 300. That's all I'm going to say about that. But also just like in most even the Marvel movies, like most every like one of the solo movies, there's one gratuitous scene where the dude takes his shirt off.
Oh, even Peter Parker, and he's like the freaking high schooler. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, it's like him standing for like a minute and a half, just like, look at me flex my little baby muscles. Ooh, I'm Spider-Man. He looked good as shit, though. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
all of them look great because they worked their fucking asses off to get that. And, I think and this kind of circles back to my point, is it's one of those things where, I mean, I've also heard, like, Hugh Jackman talks about this he's been very open about this, about, like, when he does shirtless scenes for Wolverine to make himself look as, like, shredded as possible, he will go, like, a day and a half without water.
Oh wow!
It's like supervised. It's like supervised.
I've heard people say they do stuff like that.
Henry Cavill had to do it for The Witcher. I think he had to do it for Superman in the first movie when he's like going to get the clothes after he saves the ship, the oil rig or whatever. But it's like one of those things where and this goes for the women too, is it's just like, I think it's something where there is a difference between having an empowered moment of like just owning your shit versus being objectified.
Yes.
And that's something, that's another question I pose to the audience into like Twitter and Instagram and all that. It's just like, where do you think that line rests? Because it is ambiguous. Because it's just, it's like
ambiguous.
what one person could see is it's like, hey, you're empowered. It's like, you know, like when, I mean, like with Hugh Jackman's thing, it's like, okay, well, you look fucking shredded in the Wolverine when you're whooping ass to the samurai dude. But it's just like, is that objectification though? And it's, you know, that it's a gray area. I don't know. It's a bigger topic than just one discussion. I'd love to bring that back sometime later on.
Absolutely. No, and I agree with it. And one of the examples that I gave in the last episode is like it's that line of like, we need to, this is a society thing that will not happen, but it's that question of we need to define what is over sexualized, because you have like Tomb Raider from like the original games, and she's in like she's wearing more than booty shorts and a tank top, where nowadays everyone wears booty shorts and tank tops with like scampier than what she wears, but that's not necessarily considered sexy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but for some reason,
the context changes over
the context changes, yes. But for some reason, like Lara Croft, like she's a sexualized character because of that. So like, is that the creator's fault, or is that us? Is that us because we're the ones that have like changed our standard as a society as to what over sexuality is, or like what sexuality itself is? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah, and
it's a very weird, living in this time is just a weird thing, because you're like, I ain't trying to like mess with nobody, I'm just trying to like do me, but y'all keep telling me all these different things and you make no sense. I'm just trying to help everybody make sense of the world.
One thing I do want to mention is I actually have talked to Jennifer about a version of this before, just as friends. I if any of you follow me on Instagram, which you should, which is at Art of Matthew. But what was it? I like to draw pinups. I'm just really fascinated with the art form. And it's not necessarily like because I'm trying to make like some sort of sexy objectification of anything. It's just like I just love that art style. It always stuck out to me, and it's something where there's just like I like creating beautiful things, and that's just my I just like to find a version of that. And I asked her about it one day. I was just like, look, I genuinely want to know, is there a way to do a pinup that isn't demeaning? And she said, yeah. She's like, she gave me a couple ideas. She said like a good strong pose. And one thing she did, and I'm about to show a piece of artwork that, funny enough, when we were recording this, I hadn't finished, but now it's done, is strong eye contact. She said like make sure that the girl, the character, the subject is looking straight at the viewer. And like, because instead of it just, and not like in a kind of way, but you know, like not in a promiscuous way, but just like strong, like you, like we're looking at each other right now.
Yeah.
And there she is. And granted, you know, it is Leia's costume, because I'm sorry, that was my thing when I was a kid. But also just like, it's just like, again, I tried to capture in the face specifically. You can kind of see Jabba the Hutt behind her there, but it's just like, it's a strong, confident pose. And she's just got this look in her face where it's just like, this didn't break me.
Oh yeah. It's that strength of like, yeah, fuck you. Like, I see you, bitch. Like,
yeah, I see you, bitch. I see you, bitch. Yes.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like she's saying that to you, like, fuck you, bitch. Like, what are you even, you know what I mean? Yeah, I like that. I really do.
In the words of Spike Spiegel, I love a woman who can kick my ass.
Hell yeah, brother.
and then just one other thing I want to mention. I think TV's really doing a good job with female characters too.
Nice.
I loved Regina King's character in Watchmen. I'm terrible with names. I didn't forget her name on purpose. Yeah. But I love her character so much, and like she's just such a badass. And then she like goes on such a journey in that show, and it also just amazes me that woman is the same person who voices Riley and Huey on the fucking Boondocks.
I will say
she's amazing.
All of the women in freaking Altered Carbon season 1 and 2, as much as I don't care for season 2, like all the women in Altered Carbon are like A+. Like I fucking love Takashi's sister. And then the Envoy's leader, I can't remember her name. The only reason I remember Takashi because he looks Asian, and his sister, I've seen her in a bunch of stuff and she's amazing, but I can't remember her name. I think it's not Maggie Q, but it's something similar to that, I think. I don't know.
I think I know the actress you're talking about. I'm just terrible with names.
But she's wonderful, and like the woman that like is the leader of all the envoys, like that, like she's a dope ass character. Like the way they've been able to keep that, and even when they have their like
intimate-esque scenes and stuff, it's not so much about the sexuality of her. Like, they've managed to keep her a person and a full thing and not just dive into that.
Right. It's like again, it goes back to, I think there's a difference between a character exploring intimacy versus I'm a fuck toy.
Yes, absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
And that, I think for me, that's one of the big things. Another thing where I think it actually kind of like addresses that issue, and granted it's gratuitous because it's HBO, but I think Game of Thrones fucking kills it with this shit.
Really?
It's one of those things where it's like, and what I like about it is there are female characters who are good characters, and there are characters who are evil as fuck. Like Cersei Lannister is like, she makes Thanos clench his butthole. Like, she's fucking evil, and it's just like, but she plays the system, and like a lot of them do use their, you know, their sexuality to get what they want. But it's like they're just mischievous, and that's just how they work their shit. But then like you see that end of it, and then you see like one of my favorite characters, Missandei. She's kind of like Daenerys Targaryen. She's the white-haired Emilia Clarke's character. She's kind of like not so much her second in command, but her top advisor. And she has this beautiful relationship with this other guy named Grey Worm, and they were both slaves at one point. But then when they come together, and spoilers, this is before the big battle, which was my favorite episode of the fucking last season. I know everybody hates it, but you gotta give that episode right before the big battle, and the battle itself are amazing. Nice. But she and Grey Worm finally have sex, but it's this beautiful little thing where they're just, actually it may not be the episode. Point is, it's around that time. They have this beautiful love scene, and it's just like she basically comes into his room. He's kind of like, you know, getting prepped and getting amped up and everything, but he can't sleep or whatnot. And she talks to him for a minute, and then he's just kind of like, wait, what are you up to? And then she undoes her, like her dress or robe or whatever it is, and drops down. Of course, she's naked. But it's really sweet. It's really beautiful. It's really about, like, to me, it's like you're watching these two kids like making love for the first time. And it's like, you don't see it in gratuitous detail, but it's just like, it's really sweet and really warm. And it's something where, you know, they've probably both been subjected to horrible shit being slaves and whatnot, but this is the one time where they get to own it themselves.
Nice.
That's something that's beautiful. And I love that Missandei gets to have that moment. And another character, just very briefly, Arya Stark, you could make a fucking 90-minute YouTube video about how amazing she is. But another character is, I've been recently watching Titans, and I absolutely love how they do Raven.
Yeah.
She's vulnerable, she's young, she is naive at certain points, but she has a good heart, she means well, and she's just so fucking awesome. It's such a great interpretation, I think, of the character. And, you know, that goes from me going off the TV show, the comics, everything. I think it's just such a warm, great interpretation of the character. She just wants to keep everybody she cares about safe, but she takes being betrayed very seriously. And, you know, she's not sexualized. She's a fucking kid.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure that helps, but it's like, I also feel like the writers coming into it weren't trying to do that. And on the flip side, they do that with Starfire, but it's a plot point, and I don't want to get into it.
Yeah.
But, I just really appreciate that. And also, that's another character that means a whole lot to me. And it's nice to see that she's not just subjected to like, oh, look, she's the marketing gimmick to get all the women to come see the fucking show. It's like, no, she's a great character.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's all I have to say.
I'm saying that's like, damn, and like, this is why we redid this episode, is because like there's just so much we can get into, and it opens up such a bigger discussion. So again, find us on Twitter and like hit us up with your responses to this. Who are the female directors? Like, what are the films that you like with strong female characters? And like, what piece of entertainment do women fucking rock and roll in that you can share with us, so that we can see that and then share that with everybody else? So yeah, that was a fun conversation, and I feel like it went on. I hope we
answered your question, Jennifer.
Yeah, I hope we answered your question, Jennifer. And thank you for letting us answer this in such a way that like it builds an even bigger conversation, because I think it's a conversation that definitely needs to be had.
It's not a black and white conversation, and I don't make that pun because you have a black and white nose.
Hey.
But it's just, it's not something that's there's no simple answer to it, and I think it's good that we're just, having a conversation about it's what matters.
Yeah. Do you want to jump into our movie nights?
I didn't watch a movie, but you talk about the movie and I'll talk about Beastars.
Not recently, literally last night, I watched Rain Man, because it's a movie my mom had mentioned when I was growing up as a kid, and I thought the entire movie was about, spoiler alert, the movie is like 40 years old, but I thought it was about just this dude who's like, I've got a mentally challenged brother that's really good with numbers. I'm going to take him to Las Vegas. And I thought that's really what the entire movie was about, and that is not the case. It is a very cool character description about a son who lost a father, who their relationship was so strained that he didn't even know he had an older brother. And so when he found out that his older brother was mentally handicapped, and he was in this time in life where he's like having all of this shit just kind of like fall apart from him, and he needed to pay money to people. So like watching him find in the resentment towards his father that relationship with his older brother, that was like the most beautiful thing, and that's what that movie is for me. And like I really enjoyed it. I literally sat down and did not stop the movie. Maybe like once when like an ad came on, because I watched it on Tubi. But like an ad came on, I maybe went and got a pizza waffle or something. But like I literally sat down and watched that movie all the way through and through, because I just love Tom Cruise, and Dustin Hoffman was amazing. Like, did he get an award for that? I should have looked it up.
I think so.
It was just.
Here, I'll look it up while you.
Rain Man is such a wonderful movie, and I encourage people, if you want to see a moving character piece about a person that has a lot of just bitterness and anger, but watching that dissolve from them and see who they can become and change. Rain Man is such a good movie.
I've heard nothing but good things about it. I need to see it. I am a Tom Cruise fan, but I also, what I tend to like Tom Cruise is like, I love Mission Impossible and like the Ethan Hunt thing where he's playing Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
But I also really like when he actually is like, and not that he's a bad actor when he's playing the Tom Cruise thing. He hits the marks and everything. He does it really good. It's just one of those things where I like to see him play a character and not just play like what he sees himself as.
Yeah.
And The Last Samurai is one of my all-time favorites because of that. But yeah, he did win the Oscar for Rain Man, and he won it for Kramer versus Kramer. And then he's been nominated a shit ton of other times. He was nominated for The Graduate. Hold on. He was not nominated for it's great. It's really, really great. It's definitely like a 70s movie, but it's really, really great.
Cool.
Or 60s. But what was it? The Graduate, 1967. I'm amazed he was not nominated for Midnight Cowboy with John Voight. That's the one that's been parodied a million times. It's like, everybody's talking about me. Never hear a word they're saying. Only the echoes of my mind.
No.
That's where that song got really famous.
Okay.
And I'm sorry for our listeners for me just ruining that.
That was fun. I was like, I don't know it. And you had the tune and everything. I was just like, I don't know it. Yeah, I was like, I don't know it.
Well, you and Lane have made me a little bit more confident about trying to actually like, do a little bit like that every now and then.
Hell yeah, dude. No, I need to link up with Lane. We need to go put some music in production. I'm going to be the next Little Dicky. Hey. Like we had some music we were working on that I need to finish and then actually like put words to and then like redo everything.
Well, I got to plug Ling real quick, not just because he's sponsoring the beginning of the episode once again, but something I did, and then I want to talk about like what I watched recently. For Easter, I put out a kind of little companion piece to Mr. Luke Joins the Service, my grandpa's film. And it's a little segment I wanted to include in the original thing. As you can tell by the hat, I'm a huge like World War II like history junkie. It also helps that, I had a relative in the war that, it's a perspective. Yeah. But what was cool was apparently my great aunt, so my grandfather's sister, got a letter from one of their cousins during the war. I think it was 42 or 43. He talks about being in New York, how much he loves it there, how awesome the people are, and how he's going to be shipped out in the next few days to go to England or Russia or some shit like that. 2 weeks after he sends the letter, his ship is sunk in the Atlantic. It's fucking crazy, but it's like, I didn't want to. I was wary about it because I didn't want to come across as like I'm trying to exploit this man's death. But it's just like, I'm sorry, that shit sounds like a fucking movie.
Yeah.
And what was cool was I did a little piece about it. I kind of just did whatever history I could. I found an actual photo of his fucking ship, which is amazing.
Yeah,
he was in the Merchant Marines, and then I didn't necessarily use it in the film, but I paid like $5 so I could get the photo. But also like it gave me this huge like bit of information that like had all the shit about his ship. It had all the people who were on it and who died, who lived. His name was on there, Kermit Chambers, and it was just a really neat learning experience. And what was really cool was my friend Alec, who is my co-director on Work by Day, Live by Night. You know him because we worked on the set with him. But he's an actor, and he did this amazing voiceover where he actually read Kermit's letter. It was really neat to do that, and I put it with stock footage and shit. But Lane actually, he unknowingly scored it. And so the short version of this is that he wrote a beautiful somber piece for my grandpa's thing, which I was fully intent on using. But as I was editing it, it just was too somber. It was way too somber for the whole thing. I was just like, I don't want to not use this, but it can't go in this. And then when I was cutting what the film is called, The Last Letter, I got to use some of his music, and it's amazing. And I love you, Lane, and I hope you and Morgan and your soon-to-be baby are wonderful.
Mwah, mwah, mwah.
And and we will keep plugging him at the beginning of the podcast because he's our boy.
Hell yeah, brother.
We need to watch more Danger 5.
Yes, we do.
The fourth says yet to be harvest. But the thing I watched is unsurprisingly to probably a good portion of you who know me, I binged all of Beastars on Netflix.
You finished it?
Oh, fuck yeah. It's only like 11 episodes.
Oh, I thought it was like 24 or something.
No, it's like 11 or 12.
Okay.
But it's cool because it starts out, you think it's going to be like a slice of life thing. And I'm not saying it's going to do like all this tropey anime magical bullshit. Sorry, I keep burping.
No,
but,
I'm yawning like a motherfucker.
But it takes a couple turns. It's like Zootopia, but the R-rated version. You've never seen Zootopia.
I've never seen Zootopia.
It's really good. It's one of my favorite like Disney movies.
So as an adult now, and knowing me personally, should I watch Zootopia first and then Beastars, or watch Beastars and then Zootopia?
No, Zootopia first. Because what's so cool about Zootopia is, first of all, the story is great and the characters are amazing, but the world building is really cool.
Gotcha.
And also look into a little bit of, or tell me after you've watched it, because I want to tell you one detail about how, because the story was, you know how like a lot of movies sometimes they'll be going one direction and then they start making the movie and then they like, oh no, the story is actually about this. How does this documentary shit a lot? Yeah, they did that with this movie. They were almost close to actually starting to animate it. They came up with a full animatic. The story was a completely different thing.
Okay,
same characters but slightly different. And then they're just like, this is too much. This is crazy. Damn. And it's really, really nuts. But yeah, after you've seen the movie, come back. Let's talk about it. I want to tell you all that stuff, and then go see Beastars. All right. Because it builds on, I feel like, an idea that Zootopia didn't use, which is really cool. Okay. But it's like it's one of those 3D animated animes, which I'm not usually a big fan of, but it's actually really, really well done here. It's a little stiff sometimes, but but the characters are great. The story is great. The main character, the voice actor is amazing. He's hilarious because he's so awkward. And he does this thing like they do in anime a lot where it's like they're inner monologuing. Yeah. But he's like sitting there trying to figure out words to say to this girl who's a rabbit. They're all animals, if that wasn't clear. But he's like sitting here going through all this shit in his head, and then the girl's just like, "You okay?" And he's like, "Oh shit!" He chokes out something in response. It's really funny. And then Haru, the girl the rabbit who's the other main character, she's talking about another strong female character. There is a sexual component to her. I'm not going to tell you much, but her character arc is amazing. And like what you learn about her character, oh my god, it's so good, and I can't wait for the next season. And the next season doesn't come out till fucking next year. Damn. So what I'm gonna have to do, which sucks because it comes out in 6 months in Japan, but then we have to wait another fucking 6 months for us. Oh damn, but
that's messed up. I feel like everybody's gonna be like trying to get that dub. Oh, I'm just or the subtitles.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. Of course, I can't do that because I've got the English voices ingrained in my head. It's a great dub too. But I've taken it upon myself now is Comixology has been providing me with the manga. I've heard it's cool because it's like manga to anime is pretty like
like almost page to screen.
But apparently there are some details that were left out because they did compress this first season where it's kind of like, I think it's like the first big story arc, but they compressed it a little bit. It's not that they took anything away, but they just left out some small detail things that add to it. So I'm just seeing it as, okay, cool, I'm reading essentially an extended cut of the show. But yeah, it's so fucking good, and I think you will like it.
I'm excited. I watched a YouTube video about it, and then another friend said some stuff about it. So I was like, I might wait after some stuff that he said, and then I was like, I do want to watch it. I just haven't like rushed to anything. I really don't rush to watch anything like y'all, like for real. I really don't.
I'm bored. That's why.
Speaking of things to check out, some of our good friends back in Brunswick, Georgia, TJ Thompson and Kimberly Thompson, alongside Brian Smith, they just launched their new podcast / YouTube live stream called Monday Movie Night, where in the middle of the week they'll pick out a movie that they're going to watch on Monday evenings. The pre-show starts at 8:45 p.m. and then you get to watch the show. You watch the movie alongside them. It's a live stream, and then they get to talk about it a little bit afterwards, and they all score it. So as we're all sitting around this quarantine, we want to show love to like all of our other content creators, especially people from Brunswick, Georgia. We see you guys. We want to like rep y'all and like make sure word gets out about you guys. So TJ Thompson, Brian, or TJ and wow. So TJ and Kimberly, TJ and Kimberly Thompson and Brian Smith at Monday Movie Night, and you can find them on Instagram at MMNLIVE. And then on Facebook at Monday Movie Night Live. So check those guys out. I just want to rep them because I used to do some like film work with TJ and his wife when I was growing up. So like,
I've seen your IMDb credits. I know.
Hey,
shit.
I need to learn how to get both of my, because for some reason somebody like made a second profile for me, and so like now I need to like merge those together. So
I got you. I can help with that. Or Jackson can. Jackson's probably better than I am. I guess I have a closing topic unless you had something else you want to plug.
No. I just plug my stuff out.
And it's been a meme I've seen going around, but I genuinely am curious. What's the first thing you're going to do when all this shit's over and we can go do shit and things are open?
I'll probably wait like 2 weeks before I go back to karaoke, but I have to go to karaoke and I need to go to MJQ and dance.
I'm going to go hit up a bunch of like my fucking collectible stores, like Steel Collectibles in Kennesaw is calling me badly. Ooh. Like Plastic Empire 2. I'm going to actually just join this Facebook group for like Star Wars collector meetups in Atlanta.
Oh, nice.
And my friend Ryan Shaw is the one who recommended it. He's like, just go. He's like, the meetings are open to the public. Just go. He's like, add yourself to the Facebook group. Just go. Within 2 meetings, you'll be a part of the family. I'm like, fuck
nice.
Yeah. Because I like, because you've been like my saving grace with talking toys. Because you and Nick Elkins and then Sam and like a few other people, but it's just like me and you are really the hardcore toy people, I would say.
Dude, and I even feel like I've not been in it as much as I used to be. So like,
but you can appreciate it. And I can talk toy with you.
Yeah, it's nice to hear that because I'm like, I don't even feel like I'm doing that much anymore. But like, I'm glad that like, hell yeah, dude.
But no, yeah, and I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to I'll say the biggest thing I'm looking forward to right now is going back to binders and getting my fucking art supplies because I've almost filled my sketchbook, which is a good thing. But I'm like, fuck, I have to go pay for one on Amazon now,
Dang, yeah.
And I'm running out of markers too. Like I'm about to open up. I'm going to plug myself for a second here. By the time this comes out, I'm going to have this $15 commission or profile picture commission deal on everything, Facebook, Instagram, everything. So I'm going to do profile pictures for people, fully colored, illustrated, inked, the whole 9 yards. So you'll get a big high resolution. You could print it on a fucking t-shirt copy of the drawing and the original if you want to pay for the shipping.
Yeah.
And you just hit me up on either Instagram. If you know me on Facebook, hit me up on Facebook, Twitter, whatever. And I will do some limited slots, but I'll put a waiting list of people who are waiting. It's like, I got you.
Nice. How long do you think it'll take you to do like each one?
I crank one out. I could probably crank 1 or 2 out a day.
Nice.
Because faces are the thing I'm quickest with and I'm best with. And I have experience doing this. My friend Sean doesn't know this, but I'm using the profile picture I did for him as like here's what it would look like. And I'm not going to tell him until I post it just because fuck it. And he would get a kick out of me doing that too. So, but yeah, I'm going to be doing that. So, but be wary that I may have to, I don't know, I may have to color people like Simpsons.
Hey,
I'm running out of skin color. I really am. It's crazy. like all tones, like the light stuff is going, the dark stuff is going, the stuff in between's going. I'm just like, yeah, everybody's just gonna be fucking Doug characters.
There you go.
Where can they find you, Jeremiah?
You can find me, Jeremiah, on Instagram at Parkour Geek, and that's PARKOURG33K. You can find me on YouTube at A Token's Take, and that's ATOKEN''STAKE. You can also find me on Facebook, but if I don't know you personally, do I even really know you? I'm not going to add you.
Are we living in the real world?
We don't know that. Matt, where can they find what you identify as human you?
You can find me okay, I'm good. You can find me at Art of Matthew on Instagram, at the Art of Matthew on Twitter. You can find my t-shirts with my original artwork on them, which I'm totally going to hook Jeremiah and our friends up so we can do a badass photo shoot. But yeah, you can find that and a link in the description. And then, and please listen to my podcast as well as your new one.
Oh wow, yeah. I have a new podcast, Conversations with Sarah Maya. It's me and my coworker from Stillwell Casting, Sarah Ekman, where we bring someone on, or just the two of us, and sit down and just have a conversation because we think we're funny sometimes, and we just want to like do another podcast, and it's also helping me learn how to podcast better. So, yeah, check us out. You can find me on you can find all that on our Instagram page or my Instagram page. Yeah,
we'll have everything available, and I'll talk to Jeremiah about this later. We might have a couple little contests next episode. I have something I could give somebody.
As always, have we?
The following audio presentation is property of Lake House Creative, LLC. Any reference to copyrighted works is for review and commentary purposes only.